Hey, so while working on Gobindi last week, someone asked me to show them how to make water under a bridge. I was getting frustrated with the textures I was working with at the time, so I stopped and walked them through the process. This is basically that segment of the stream as its own freestanding video. Enjoy. I'm driving myself crazy here. I did not expect this to play unfriendly. Alright, so, let's set the min height to 50. Oh, right. Max height to 50. Min height to 50. And the water level is going to be 25. Okay, so that's a pretty simple thing. Recompute. The water level is below this area now. Oh, I want passability somehow. Alright. Textures. We're going to add a whole texture here. I like to use all shaders GC. So let's make this a bit bigger and say that we want a bridge, or let's say this is all just a big flat plain, and in the middle of that plain is a lake, and that lake has a bridge in the middle of it. Okay, it's a relatively simple concept, I think. What we want is we want water to first appear in these areas, but we don't want it to dip because we want the flying units to go over it very smoothly, right? So we don't want this to dip. So we're going to use a hole texture instead. Oh, but that creates just a hole. It doesn't show the water. So we're going to go to the water settings, and I believe we want to set edge fade opacity to 100. This we don't really care about. Opacity to 100 as well. And so let's set this to 51 just so we can see what that's like. And okay, yeah. Nature settings we're gonna set to murking sky big, just because I want to actually see the water looking nice. And because I'm just gonna be crazy for a second, I'm gonna pick one of my favorite textures to mess with, just this one. And that gives the water a really weird look, but I love it. Now, I've used this on multiple maps. I'm not sure how many I've actually finished, but there's a lot of my work in progress maps that are using this. So let's set the water back to 25. And oh, it's missing. Drat! We wanted the water here. So what do? What we're going to do is, actually, just to show this better, I'm going to find the Camino texture. Camino texture, where are you? Camino paths. And set this texture to the size of 620. Then I'm going to set this to Urban Greeble, the first 00. And so you can see outlines of 620 in size. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the height leveling tool. Are you with me? And the leveling tool is set to 0. This height is 50. The water level is 25. So 0 is obviously below all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tower prop. On the first tower. Yeah, that'll work. Set it right here. And you know what? I'm going to make it the square one that I'm so fond of too. Take the whole texture. I'm basically just doing the tutorial I've put off making for ages, but that's okay. This is probably the only way I'm going to motivate myself to actually make it. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to put these on each corner. I'm usually all about coordinates, but I'm going to skip that for this moment. Actually, no, I'm going to want to do the coordinates. Did I just... Oh my god, I somehow deleted the skybox. Don't... If you ever accidentally delete the skybox, Control Z, because it creates a nightmare you don't want to deal with. And it'll just crash your editor over and over again. I don't know how or why that can happen, but... Ugh. That's why I gave up on Gobindi for so long, is because I kept having to restart it. or not restart it, but I kept having to deal with constant crashes until I basically deleted all skyboxes, opened it, saved it, and then added all the skyboxes back. I basically deleted skyboxes from existence just to preserve the map. Okay, now I'm going to copy paste that here. I'm going to set that there. Just to make this look good, take all of these. It's fine now, but like, ugh, it was a hassle. I'm going to set these to 180. So they, this is dipping under the water. Now, let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the objects for now. And you see the leveling, terrain level is at 0. Now watch what happens here. You see how putting a dip into here creates the water? Let's put this to 0. Now watch what happens. Nothing. The water only exists in this area when edge fade opacity is set to 0. But as I increase it, it starts to become a full solid plane on that 620 line. Are you with me? Does this make sense? Next, I'm gonna do, but this 620 only covers, this 620 square only covers this part, and I want it here and here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a dip in here, and for a good measure, I'm just gonna put in all all these corners, even though I really just needed 1 and 2. I'm just gonna, you know, be uniform about it. Why not? And now I've got these buildings here that seem to be, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the passability around these buildings to completely impassable so that nothing will go through them. This way, flying units don't just suddenly dip into these spaces. This does require a bit of technical work, but many of my best, in my opinion anyway, maps are utilizing this strategy to add a lot of like water and stuff below the playing area, and I've really enjoyed messing with it. Now, oh, that's no good. Well, it's okay that the water's not appearing under here, but we want it to appear under the bridge, don't we, right? Especially if I'm going to set it to like 5. Well, now it's really obvious that the water's not under the bridge. So first I'm going to like just kind of put up decoration so it's a little more clear. Walls. What's a big wall? C400's big. No, we want C500. That'll probably be fine. I want something bigger apparently. Okay, what's my biggest wall? I guess F huge. Okay. And there are better ways to do this, but I'm being a bit speedy about this. I'm doing a tutorial today, it would seem. I'm gonna run this down until it becomes convincing. I'm gonna set this to 90 degrees. I'm going to take this to 270. And what number did I go with here? Minus 450? Okay. Minus 450. This is just me making a nice border. Greeting players. Player Dragon, Keela, show me water tricks for maps. Then I'm going to set minus 450. Okay, so this has an awkward thing hanging over. You can do better than this, I'm sure. I'm sure you can like be more picky about which walls you choose for this, but no matter. Set this to here. Minus 450. Now, I'm going to exaggerate the heights here greatly for a second. Actually, it might be too much. Oh, actually, it might be okay. Well, no, it's probably not okay. Let's go to 100. Okay, that's better. Now, as you can see, we have a nice convincing little, like, water pit down here. It's all murky and stuff. But the best part is flying units can go over this without suddenly dipping into this space, which is nice. But it's resulted in this bridge, which is no good. So there is a trick here. We're going to turn off the hole texture. I'm going to set the hole texture to an easy to see color. I'm going to set my brush radius to 1. Now I'm going to find out where the crosses are. I go 1, 2. I'm going to hit every other square like this. Now the reason I'm doing this is, and watch this one. When I set them the hard texture, you see how they make a circle? They make a square. Let me set these to size 20 so that they're a little easier to understand. You see how, like, doing it like this? Okay, well, I was off here. Watch hard texture. Oh, I've actually messed up quite a bit here. Okay, so boop, 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 boop. I'm going as sparingly as I can while also filling this place completely. Does that make sense? I'm filling it up as much as I'm making it so that this is entirely filled with this texture. Then I'm going to switch it to whole, and nothing happens. But that's okay. We're going to save this as tutorial water bridge. I'm going to hit new, open a new map. I'm going to go back to tutorial water bridge. And reopen it, and look at that. Water under the bridge. Hopefully that makes some sense. And you can really do this with basically anything once you understand the principles behind it. That's how you have water under the bridge. Yeah. Let me see if I can find some finished maps that I did this with that I'm really happy with. Oh wait, I should go in my own maps. Not have to filter through things. Zelfatal, I did this on a pretty big scale. Give me a second here. So there's some fake water here. I was paying attention, but also look forward to views. I need a future reference. Alright, so there's fake water here. And this whole map is actually shaped like this. Let's turn off the objects. This is the map's true shape in terms of gameplay. But it looks like this. Damn it. 1 second. There we go. And basically all of these points are dips way, way, way down to the bottom, covered up by objects with passability of impassable so that nothing flies into them. And the whole map is covered in stuff like this. Let me see, another one that I did this with is Sand Sea Station Desert. In this case, I used lava texture to create shifting sand. It's the same principle. The outside area is not as clean as I could have made it. I could have done this a little cleaner. But this is fine, I think. And it ends up looking like this. With just huge sections of the map seemingly in sand or elevated above sand, when in reality it's really just a flat surface for almost all of the map. That is awesome. Yeah, I think so. Let's turn fog back on. Alright, and there's a swamp version of this as well because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to go with. And it's a different layout, but it's mostly the same layout, but the passability is different, so that actually changes it gameplay wise. And the props are sort of different as well. But it's got the same water principle. But with instead of sand, it's swamp. This was also a lot more urbanized and, not urbanized, but industrialized. A lot more smoke and pipes and dirt and grime. I was kind of thinking of Mercana when I made it. Let's see. Did I do it with any others? Technically Mirror Lake, I guess. Alright. So, the principle here is actually kind of funny because the playing area is above the water. So, it's like a big flat mirror that you can run across. That's sort of the idea here. This one actually is a lake. Because it's out of bounds, and I didn't have to worry about that. And I did that here by putting dips around all of the edges. I did the same with... Where are you? Bogley Woods. When do you start to cap out on map size and objects? The map looks like 1212 or something. There isn't really a cap. Most of my maps definitely are on the larger side. So that when you look out, you don't just see map edge or whatever. This is the same principle here, but I hid the dips with trees. Oh, see here you can see them pretty well. And it's all on the 620 by 620 grid. I may have gone a little too far with this one, but that's okay. Generally, I don't go above 6,000 props, but it kind of comes down to what props you use more than how many you have, but that's a whole thing in itself. And to some extent, you just got to get people to test it and see if it feels laggy by using a bunch of like stuff that typically incurs lag, like infantry. Let's see. The last map I did like this was Mushroom Marsh. Where are you? Here we are. This is kind of a weird one for other reasons though too. But I'm pretty happy with how it came out color-wise. Like, this is a really nice color scheme. It's actually just only using base game assets, and for some reason, whenever I do maps using only base game assets, they come out really well color-wise. Yeah, I streamed this one almost entirely? Yeah, basically entirely, because part 1 was the tutorial for how to make your own Mirror Lake, and then it turned into this eventually. But yeah, that's how you do water. And wait, last one is Galantos. I did this on pretty big level. You were there in chat. That's cool. Okay, so this is another one I did water under the bridge with. Probably the first one I did it with, actually. The first one that actually got finished. The last thing I did was, because you can look up and you can see into the sky. No, not that. And you don't want that. Let me rotate this around. You can see straight up into the sky, and it's like, that's no good. I put these little metal slabs just below the playing area so that, like, it makes a fake underside of the bridge. That's something to consider. You can also use the various sizes of this wall prop rotated for that if you want. You can make the water either completely see-through, or you can make the water either almost entirely opaque, which means you don't have to fill out the bottom. Or if you don't, you might consider putting something underneath. Although, in this case, I think I just played it extra safe. One map. What did I end up calling it? Oh, yeah, that's right. This is going to be like some kind of a... What are they called? It's going to be Shri, that one oceanic dinosaur planet or whatever. The principle here is the same, but as you can see, I've not made as much progress with it. It's still very much in progress. And you can see how it's going to be like just a giant structure elevated over an oily ocean. Probably going to need to figure out something for the reflection and the undersides. That might be a bit of a pain. Ugh. At least on this scale. But we'll see.